This is actually the New York Times, believe it or not. The screenplay is by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, who play Mr. Murray's partners in Parascience. Mr. Ramis plays the egghead type, and Mr. Aykroyd is more of a blank, since there's barely a role for him here at all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is so funny to just listen to reviewers boil down, you know, these like the greatest comedy movie that features an egghead scientist, and hear the reviewer just go like, "Who plays the egghead?"
He's the egghead type. He's like your classic egghead.
Like it's a second grade play, you know? It's like, come on, like you're right, but have a little respect.
He's the nerd of the group.
The nerd one.
I don't think that accurately captures Egon. And yeah, granted, this guy or gal wrote, or person wrote this in 1984, so they don't have the benefit of 50 years of being like,
I know two things: the Berlin Wall will never fall, and Harold Ramis plays the egghead.
He's the nerd.
Yeah.
He goes on, as long as the film retains its playfulness and keeps the stakes low, things are promising. But once the trail leads to the refrigerator of Dana Barrett, played by Sigourney Weaver, which contains a hellhound and a gleaming apocalyptic vision, the film gets completely out of hand.
I'm sorry, we can't, like the plot does actually have to unfold at some point.
Things escalated.
Is this the only time in history someone said, thank God for low stakes in a movie?
Low stakes, yeah. Thank goodness. As long as their world is small and nobody steps out of into the unknown,
the problem,
we're going to enjoy ourselves.
The problem was when the hero started facing adversity. Like, what do you...
Yeah. Ivan Reitman, the director, subsequently now has to contend with the spectacles like a rooftop demonic shrine and a 100-foot marshmallow dressed in a sailor suit marching up Central Park West. Not surprisingly, with all this going on, there is more attention to special effects than to humor.
Than to humor?
Than to humor.
No. No. Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, the whole, like, this is something that I think we're going to deal with a lot with the podcast, because it happened with the Jurassic Park episode too. The idea of communicating that the director was like, got in over their head. Like in the Jurassic Park
this
episode,
one got away from them.
The whole conversation was like, Spielberg didn't know what to do with Ian Malcolm. At some point, he had to put him to the sidelines.
He mercifully broke his leg and took him out of the picture
because he was in the middle of filming, going, "Oh man, I guess I have to change on the fly."
I cast bankable star Jeff Goldblum as this character. I knew was in the script, and now I don't know what to do with it.
And say what you want about the pacing, but to say that Ivan Reitman struggled, it wasn't like the movie wasn't being made in the time that it took to watch the movie. It was a long shooting process. You can't communicate things like that way, where it's like, and then Ivan Reitman just he let it get away from him a little bit.
Yeah, he was forced. That's the subtext here, is the script forced this director to have to elevate the stakes.
Right.
Wow. Now he needs to have spectacles like a rooftop shrine and a 100-foot marshmallow. Like, as if, first, a couple of things. Like, when a director signs onto a project, they usually have read the script.
Yeah.
He knew he needed to do all those things. I don't know why they treat it like this guy got shafted in the middle of production. Like, suddenly the end of the movie appeared.
I get what they're saying, because this does happen in a lot of movies. Like, movies that try to be both scary and funny, usually when the stakes raise, you completely lose sight of the humor, because it can't juggle both of them. This movie, better than literally any movie I've ever seen. In the finale, on the rooftop that Ivan Reitman realized at the last minute that he needed, has one of my favorite lines, and a line that I quote all the time, which is, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
You say yes.
It finds a way. The number of jokes in the high-stakes, cosmic supernatural finale of this sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
I'm
actually I'm thinking about that right now, and I'm just laughing in my internally at they're all standing there, and Bill Murray just goes, "Go get him, Ray," and he has this he does this look off to the side of did it work? Did it work?
Yeah. And when Ray goes as a citizen and a representative of New York City and the tri-state area, I ask you, and he's like, that ought to do it, Ray. Thank you so much.
That ought to do it.
Every single line. If there is any movie that successfully broke that curse, it's Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Even the set piece
that's a really good point.
The set piece that you're talking about, where he had to give up on the humor to make big lavish set pieces. One of those set pieces is a 50-foot marshmallow.
Marshmallow. Yeah. Yeah, it's a gigantic, adorable marshmallow
that only exists because Ray tried to think of something sweet
that couldn't hurt them.
Yeah.
It's a great scene. That A, raises stakes, B, is humor. It's just, that's what it's for, is to do both at the same time.
Yeah.
And to your point, I think it seems to me like this reviewer had that idea locked and loaded. This is going to be a movie, this is going to be an adventure comedy, and one thing adventure comedies can't do is elevate the stakes while maintaining humor.
Right.
So I can say that. I mean, it's more attention to special effects than to humor. I get the knock that the special effects in this movie aren't great. I think for 1984, I think they're fine.
Is that what they're saying in that the special effects aren't great? Or is that a separate?
No, they're not. It is a thing that does come up in some of these. Most of the time that comes up is people saying something like, this movie's incredible. I think the special effects could use a little more polish, but otherwise, a flawless movie. So I don't have a ton of, quotes on that, but some people do say that. Some people take issue with the special effects.
I really feel like this is one of those things where you're watching one of the greatest comedies of all time. If you're walking out going, yeah, but the effects, I
know. Yeah, you are missing the point.
Yeah.
You will never enjoy a comedy if that's how you approach this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy's got a little more. Let me wrap this one up. So, not surprisingly, with all this going on, there's more special effects than to humor. There are also far too many loose ends in the screenplay, since few of the supporting characters wind up having much to do with one another. Some, like William Atherton as an Environmental Protection Agency inspector who challenges the hero's means of ghost disposal, seem out of place in what's supposed to be a comic setting. Others, like Annie Potts as the board secretary of the Ghostbusters, simply have nothing to do.
Okay. So one of my favorite things about Ghostbusters is, on paper, Atherton is right. He is not a villain at all. Even in the way it's written, he's like, may I please see the storage facility? It's if you read it, it's literally like, oh.
Well, I don't mean not to nerd out on you. He's told no the first time.
That's true. And he keeps calling him Mr. Venkman. But again, these have been memed to death at this point, but he is not wrong.
He's not wrong.
And the fact that Bill Murray is so charismatic that the EPA saying, hey, don't destroy the Earth, is the bad guy in the movie. Because Bill Murray we love him so much that we want to watch that.
You've already also been presented with that information in the movie. Egon turns to everybody, for the record, after they've been firing their proton packs several times. Egon goes, oh, I forgot. If you cross the streams, it will incinerate all matter and life on Earth.
Yeah, good safety tip.
Good safety tip. Thank you, Egon. They've demonstrably not done their due diligence on this. It is clearly a risk to all life for this one guy to take a look at them and go can I just make sure that this is safe? And for them to go, you can go to hell, is like, yeah.
Look, I hate that we don't get any new IPs out there, and I hate that everything's a reboot. Give me the reboot of Ghostbusters where the EPA is the hero, and it's like a spotlight level, like movie about a bunch of people in an office.
Just intrepid William Atherton.
Yeah.
Trying to get to the bottom of it.
And they keep seeing these commercials where these smarmy people are running around with unlicensed nuclear accelerators. And they're like, we have to stop them. Why is everybody cheering them?
Yeah. So, and that movie just ends really like bleakly with like this kind of like, you can't beat the man when he finally confronts them, gets told he has no dick, and has to walk out sadly. Like,
but end credit scene, he comes in covered in marshmallow, because that's really what happens.